Welcome to episode 2 of Knitting on the Farm. My name is Angela and I'm coming to you from County Down in Northern Ireland, and it's Saturday the 22nd of February 2020. So how has everyone been from the last time we chatted? I do hope you've got lots of your crafting time in and that everybody has been keeping well. I just want to start by saying thank you so much for everyone that has subscribed to the channel, and for the number of people that have actually watched the podcast. It was something I didn't expect at all, and I'm totally blown away by it. It really has been very encouraging, and it's just nice that some people like to watch and have enjoyed what I've been doing, and it's a pleasure for me to share what I've been doing as well, so thank you very much for that. So just before we start with all our knitting goodness, I'll just mention where you can find me. On Instagram, where I'm most active, you can find me as Knitting on the Farm with all the underscores, and if you click the link in my bio, it'll take you through to both my YouTube channel and also to my Ravelry page, where you'll find a up-to-date list of the items that I have been knitting and more details about them. Also, you can find me on Ravelry, as I say. It's on Knitting on the Farm, and if you want to get in contact with me directly, you can do so either via direct message on Instagram, or you can email to knittingonthefarm@gmail.com, and I'll put those down below for your convenience as well. So today I want to talk about some finished things, some things that are currently on my needles, and I have a couple of ideas for things that I might cast on in the coming couple of weeks. And I also have just one item from Mr. Posty, and then we can finish off with a little bit of chit chat. So let's get tucked in and start with our finished things. If you followed me on Instagram, I've been posting and put up a whole lot of details just as I went along, so this may be boring for you. I'm sorry about that, but as you can see, I have finished my Snuggle Down cowl. This is a pattern by the beautiful Jules of So Sweet Violet. It's a paid for pattern, and I purchased mine on Ravelry, but it's also available on her website as well. It used up some minis. It used approximately 70 grams, and you had the choice of using seven different colors held together with some mohair or fluff if you wanted to. So that was what I did. The yarn I used was from my festive season celebration box from Sherry Harris, and I picked out 7 of the colours, and the colour names and things are up on my project page on Ravelry if you want to see that. But it blocked beautifully. It is so cozy. I just love the colour choice. I'm really pleased with it, and it is so warm. I had it on this morning when we were out getting our shopping, and boy, you really appreciate the heat around your neck. So I'll take it off and just let you see it as the full piece. So I started with the browns, going into sort of the grey blue to the sea blue, and then up into the two-tone and finishing off with the raspberry colour. I'm really pleased with it. I do like it very much. I might actually knit it again and knit it just with the remainder of the minis that I had, and just knit a narrower one for coming into the springtime. And I'm also going to put a little button just on the front of it so that I know which is the front. Just to finish it, I might actually put it in the front centre. I have some nice wee buttons with handmade on them, so I might do that just to finish it. So that's my Snuggle Down Cowl by Sherry Harris. Just love it. The colours are so pretty. I'm very pleased. So that's one finished object. Another object that I finished that I had been working on was a pair of socks for Andrew. So I named them incorrectly the last time on the podcast. I said they were vanilla wool, but they're actually sugar frost socks, and the designer it's vanilla wool, so I apologize for that. So this is the socks, 2 of them, and I'll show you one. So these were knit in yarn from West Yorkshire Spinners, and it was their signature colourway, and the colours, the colours were, the main colour was called Mallard, and the contrasting colour was called Nutmeg. So it's just the basic 20 row 2x2 rib on this through the back loop, and then I did 64 rows. I did the eye of the partridge heel. I think there was about 58 maybe in the foot, and then just the rounded toe. These knit up slightly looser than what my normal sock would be, but Andrew's tried them on and they seem to be okay. So we'll see how they go. So that is the amount of yarn that I have had left after knitting one pair. So I haven't weighed it, but I would imagine I probably will get another pair out of the main colour, No Bother, and I'll have lots of this to do contrasts, so it'll be interesting to see when I weigh it how it works out. So that's Andrew's first pair of socks of the year. So that's my 2 finished items. So we will move on to what is on the needles at the minute. So when I finished Andrew's socks, of course I was ready to cast on another pair for him. I really want to get him a few pair at the beginning of the year out of the way, and then I can get on to some nice patterns and nice scrummy wools, hand dyed wools. So the second sock then that I cast on for him was the Coffee Talk sock pattern by Tracy Miller, and this yarn I spoke about I purchased in Hobbycraft, and it was called 2 of a Kind. It's a 75 wool, 25 acrylic, and it sort of changes tones. It comes in 2 200 gram balls, and the fade just works its way through. So I finished this one maybe yesterday. So it's quite hard, but again, maybe when it's blocked it'll be okay. I did the single rib twist knitting through the back loop on this one, and I did the eye of the partridge heel in that one too, just to give it a little bit more strength, and the rounded toe. So I have the first one finished. That was how much I had left out of the 200 meters, but I just started the second sock at the beginning again to make them match. So this is the second sock. Andrew had some things to do this morning when I was in the car, so I got the rib knit. It's amazing what you can do with a few minutes here and there. So that's just the colour it started at, and that's a tiny progress keeper that came in one of my sock clubs last year in the Countryside Sock Club. So that's the sock number 2 started. I don't know whether anybody's interested or not, but It's not something I really mind whether I share or not, but this is a wee DPN protector. It's by a girl who works as Curly Emma Embroidery, and it's like a Harris tweed with a little sheepy on it, and I also have the bag to match. It's really good. I think it's shawl size, but I like it for holding, you know, a couple of balls and the pattern and all the little bits and pieces that you need. And it's really a good serviceable colour for taking out in the car. So that's Andrew's second pair of socks. I should get that finished pretty soon. I think I maybe said the pattern was Coffee Talk socks. So the other thing then I did show you last week that is still on the needles is my Snowmelt Shawl. Yep, that's the right side, and it is by Helen Stewart of Curious Handmade. So I have completed up clue 3 and have just started clue 4. I think the last time I showed it to you, I was here where the marker was. Hope you can see that because I can't see anything. So it's coming on quite well. I've increased to the large number of stitches now. I'm up to over 500. So it's taken a bit longer just to do each row, but it is quite simple just where it is at the moment. It's just a little eyelet pattern, and it's nice to knit a few rows. So yeah, I hope to get maybe clue 4 finished this week. The yarn is from Craft House Magic, which is a beautiful Ellie, and she has a podcast also which she records every week, and it's really good. I like it. She's funny, very light-hearted. So her the yarn it was knitting then was her Camel Silk Base 50/50, and the colours I used were Circle in the Sand as the first colour, and then Heaven is a Place on Earth as the slightly darker colour, and then the third colour, the charcoal grey type colour, was I Get Weak. So it's going, the yarn is going really well. It's lasting. It's one of those things you're afraid of always running out because you're getting more and more stitches on the needles, but there will be plenty, I'm sure. So that is my Snowmelt Shawl. Okay, so the other thing then that was a sort of a surprise, really, I hadn't even talked about it the last day, was starting a blanket, and this is for a little baby that'll be arriving now over I think it's maybe April times, and it is someone that does deliveries here on to the farm, so it's just a small present. So I decided to knit the Seaside Stroll baby blanket, and it is by Espace Tricot. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm really not very good. So that's the shawl. It's a free pattern, and I downloaded it from Ravelry. I have altered it a little bit. I think it said to cast on 155 stitches, and I cast on 149. It also just called for a basic cast on, and looking at the patterns, I sort of thought that I just wanted something a wee bit more, so I did a I-cord cast on, and I'm also doing the I-cord edge, if you can see it. Maybe. I'm hoping it'll block out a little, but I'm really pleased with it. I like it, and I think it's finishing off it'll finish off the blanket quite nicely. So I have just done the border, and I'm ready to start the pattern now. I was going to go for some hand-dyed yarn, and then I sort of was thinking of the washing implications and things for a new mum, so I decided to buy some Sirdar Snuggly Cashmerino, and it's in like a ecru type colour. It's not white and it's not really yellow cream. If you can see. It is, the colour number was just 473. There's 130 meters per 50 grams, and it is a mixture of 57% wool, 33% acrylic and 10% cashmere. And the instructions was 30 degrees wool cycle and dry flat, so I thought that might be okay. And it called for, I think I need seven of these to make up for what the yardage that was in the pattern. So it's lovely to knit with. It's really nice and soft, and it's just a matter of getting used to knitting on the larger needles after doing so much on the small needles. It just feels like you're nearly knitting chunky, because it's such a difference. So that was a surprise cast on, and obviously then that was the purchase. So the last day then, Posty had just brought me my January sock club, which is The Life of Birds from Sherry Aris, and I just give you a sneak peek because I didn't want to spoil it for anybody else that was maybe even, you know, getting it internationally. So I did also then put a photograph up on Instagram, but I just was starting the socks again for Andre. I didn't really get this cast on when I wanted to, and I didn't get as much of it done as I wanted to, but I'll show you I'll show you how much I have got done. I decided this time that I would do toe up. So I have the toe done, and I have 2 pattern repeats done on the start of the foot. This is a combination of 2 patterns that I'm using. I don't know, did you see the little teacup? I think it was in the celebrations box as one of the progress keepers. It's just lovely. So the patterns that I'm using are, well, I'll show you the yarn first. So that's the contrasting colour. That's pretty accurate. And then this is the main colour. It's lovely. It's sort of the neutral tones. The bird that was the idea behind this is called the fieldfare bird. And reading the description that came with the yarn and looking up some of the books and the websites, that's really very, very accurate to the colours of the bird. So this is the it is 75 superwash merino and 25% nylon, 425 meters per 100 grams, and then the mini skein is 85 meters in the 20 grams. So the pattern is using the toe. I'm going to use the toe and the heel from the Mabel Socks pattern by Jules of So Sweet Violet. So that I've knit this heel before and the toe, and it is a good fit, and I just want to do it again. I would like to get better at it, so that's why I chose to do toe up this time for a change. So, and then the pattern for the sock is It'll Be Fine Socks, and it is from Dimmy Reed, and I think this was actually free. I think I got it through Ravelry. Yeah, it was free. So it's just a simple 8 row pattern with every alternate row being knit. So it's an easy pattern to remember, and I'm enjoying it. It's not showing up maybe that terrible well in the wool, but as you get on and you sort of get on up the foot and into the leg, it's just enough to keep me interested. And yeah, I always enjoy a pattern. So that is my field fair socks. So that's things that are on the needles. My floozy's also on the needles, but I haven't done anything with it at all, and I haven't even lifted it out of the knitting bag from the last time I spoke to you. So a couple of things that are coming up. Just get the patterns confuddled here. I did a swatch last year. I went to the Edinburgh Yarn Festival and I purchased some yarn from the Wensleydale Longwool Sheep Shop. And I had in mind the just get the pattern. Thought I was organised, but of course, who's organised? Yes, I had in mind when I purchased this the Fern and Feather sweater by Jennifer Steinglass. It was all the rage last year, and I just was coming home straight away to cast it on, and then decided I'm not casting on another large item until I finish my floozy. So it has sat, but I had swatched, and the two colours I chose were two greens, and I swatched according to the pattern, and this is the swatch. This is what I wanted to ask you. I think it's maybe a little open. I think I could do with maybe a tighter gauge. Do tell me what you think. I haven't done true colour work before. The floozy cardigan isn't ferile. It gives you that effect, but it's not. And this will be my first sweater, so I'm just not sure. I just think it's maybe just a bit on the loose side, but I really would appreciate your input. It's nice and soft, and it will be durable enough, but I don't know, can you give me your help? All opinions greatly received. So that's something I would like to cast on. The other thing then is my February sock club will be coming in, and I want to be able to keep up to date with knitting my socks. So I have thinking of two patterns. This one is Winter Frost, and I think it's by who's Winter Frost? I didn't know it before. Olive Villarreal. I think it's probably a paid for pattern. And the other one then was by the beautiful Danny of Little Bobbins, and it's her Faithful Friend socks. So those are an option for my next socks cast on. So those are a couple of socks, and possibly getting the sweater started. I feel as though although the colours are dark, it still would be a good spring sweater to have, considering the weather that we have here. So I think that is it for ideas that might be coming up. Yeah, that's pretty much it for that. Posty then, Posty really just brought the yarn for the baby blanket and nothing else, and I'm not sure when, probably next week maybe, the February sock club will come, but haven't purchased anything else. I want to use to be using what I have, so that yeah, I think that was it. So what is in our general chit chat then? I did say about new subscribers and about so many watches, and I know a lot of podcasters have Ravelry groups, and personally I don't involve myself a lot in the Ravelry groups belonging to the podcasts. I do enjoy watching the podcast. Seldom do I enter maybe any of the knit-alongs. Not that I don't have anything for them, I just don't seem to do it. But I was wondering, is that something maybe as you watch, something that you would like to have? Would you like there to be a Ravelry group for to chat among yourselves rather than putting comments down below? Would you like to have a knit-along? Would you like to have a competition? Please do tell me, because I'm quite happy to do it if there's people would be interested in it. It's no problem at all. I was thinking if it was something you wanted, maybe of doing a knit-along for Easter and possibly having a giveaway for that. I sort of was thinking maybe along just the Easter colours of the spring grass and the daffodils and the chicks, that type of thing. That's my dog barking, excuse me. So that was maybe one of my ideas, but let me know what you think, and I'm most certainly open to suggestions, and I'll be happy to do it if that's something that you wanted. Okay, Lola has had a treat and she's happy again. So I just wanted to mention the shawl that's on the mannequin here. I knit this shawl last year. It is called the Silver Tongue Shawl by Ruth Brash. It was a paid for pattern on Ravelry, and I knitted out of yarn that my friend on Instagram dyed, my friend's called Diane. She's Ellen Tree Yarns is her Etsy shop, and she's knitting bunting on Instagram. And if you love dogs, she has adorable little puppies, and they are just they're just so beautiful, and they are treated like little queens. So if you pop onto her stories, you'll see lots about those. But anyway, her yarns were inspired by Tilda Inspired Yarns, and they is Spring Bloom and Spring Green, and it has some nice stellina in it. But it's not something, I don't know, it didn't appeal to me colour wise. Maybe after I knit it, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and coming into this time of the year it would be beautiful, but I'm maybe just more muted in my colour palette. But there is a podcast I follow called Tales from Cuckooland by Gaina, and you should watch it. It's brilliant. Gaina is so funny. She's just so open, so honest. Her life, it doesn't matter what happens, she shares it. She's doing a lot of daily vlogs at the moment, maybe more than podcasts, but they really are worth popping across and watching. Gaina's son goes to a special needs school, and she speaks openly about it on her vlogs, and she does a lot of fundraising for the school. It is extremely underfunded, and the facilities are minimal for a school that requires a lot of assistance for special needs pupils. And she's always trying to do something to raise funds, and at the moment she's organising for a raffle to raise funds for a minibus. She showed, I think it was just after Christmas, the minibus, and it yeah, it definitely needs replaced, and it allows the pupils to get out and about to different things, because they don't have great facilities really where they are. The last fundraiser, I think she used the monies to take the children to the theatre, because it required having sort of a special booking that they could go along and that they could really enjoy themselves and feel comfortable. So I was speaking to Gaina and I asked her could I contribute this shawl to her raffle, and of course Gaina said yes please. So I am going to block it and I'm going to send it across to her and let her do some of her really good photography skills and photograph it, and when she does her raffle then she can put it up, and I do hope that it raises some money for Bill's school and for the other pupils that attend, and that they can have some of the supplies and things that they need to make sure that they get all the attention and facilities that they need to help them learn in a secure and controlled environment. She says Bill has really come on so much from being at the school, and it just would be lovely that everything would be provided for that they would need, and I'm going to send this across just as my contribution. So I thought I would share that, and it would be lovely if you go across and support Gaina, even by just watching the ads at the beginning of the podcast. Generates a little money for her, and she donates all that to the fundraising for the school, so it's well worth popping across. Plus you'll get a laugh and you'll get day-to-day musings, which are really brilliant. It would lift your heart and do your soul good, as we would say. So I think that's basically yeah, I think that's basically everything. I'm just checking down on my scribbles here, and I don't have much else to share. I'm going to put in a little bit of footage at the beginning and the end of some things just throughout the last couple of weeks, and everything at the farm has been going quite well. We've had a few calves born, and unfortunately just with the weather the way it is, and the cows sort of coming out of their house and waiting to go into the milk parlour to be milked, they've picked up a few colds, so that has had to be dealt with, but thankfully everything has recovered and there's no major complaints. The weather has been so wet, there's been no preparations done for crops at all, so it's going to leave a very busy time once the fields dry a little and that the boys can get into them with the machinery. So it would be great if it wasn't a very late spring, but just have to see how it goes. We don't have any control over the weather, and maybe that's a good thing. So that is everything. That was my little shout out for Gaina's podcast, and I hope that you enjoy this podcast. Please do comment down below about the Ravelry group. Please do help me with my swatch for my Fern and Feather sweater, and any suggestions that you have, do put them down. I loved reading all the comments. If I didn't reply, I did put a heart against what I read, and please do continue to comment. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Get up to lots of crafty goodness, and I hope to see you again. Bye.